La 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 la. Hello, every pony. This is your favorite fluffy pony, Venomous Pie, the old Pinkie Pie of this little group of insanity here. Welcome to another episode of Bunny Minutes Discuss. And we are gonna cover an interesting episode here this evening. Of course, I am not alone in this one. I have with me Dr. Hooves, Mr. Crimson.
Alonzi, on to another timeline, shall we?
We have our Trixie, David.
Magical mishaps is what I do.
We also have our Moon Dancer, Miss Dream Sage.
I'd rather sing.
I just went deaf.
We also
I
have
had to.
we also have a couple of people who had a long absence but has finally returned to this one. First off, please welcome back our one and only Rainbow Dash, Mr. Kanata.
I'm back. For a second there, I thought you said Miss Kanata.
Well, this is off to a good start.
Look, I know I know my avatar is a female character, but come on.
I mean, if we're taking the SAO approach, then
Oh,
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Welcome to Don't Get Online, everybody.
and finally, another person who was returned from a long absence, and this episode was actually a birthday request from him. Please welcome back our Discord of the group, Daniel.
Did you have that on standby?
Of course he did.
Also, yeah, rip everyone who was wearing headphones.
Hey, I did warn y'all in the pre-show.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I know.
Come on, I'll howl at the moon, sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon.
Yeah, anyway, the episode we'll be covering here today is probably the most popular episode in all of Season 8. That would be the one with the Kieran. I mean, Sounds of Silence. Or as many people say, Kieran, Kieran, Kieran.
Give me your Autumn Blaze
Wait a
plushies.
second. I thought it was Carol's. Oh, sorry, wrong episode.
Let's all get started with the song of our people.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure we all know the whole deal by now. Go through a random order for discussing one positive, then we will go in reverse for one negative, then we'll give a final rating. So, let's Daniel, do you want to go first or do you want to go last?
Oh, go. I'd rather sing.
Hey, I just did that.
Hey, play the trap card, copycat.
But yeah, Daniel, do you want to go first or do you want to go last and positive?
I'll go first, please.
Alright, floor is yours, Daniel.
I'm pretty sure everybody already knows what my favorite is gonna be.
Yeah, as what you just said isn't a big clue.
I want all of your Autumn Blaze plushies now. Yeah, Autumn Blaze is definitely my favorite. I love the song that she's singing along, and just loving how she made Applejack's face with that smile.
Oh, jeez.
That creepy smile. Which also became a meme.
Well, of course, because of course it did. Every episode has to have the meme face.
Yep. It's no pudding face, but still.
Oh, jeez.
Or the sweet meme.
No.
What?
You know the sweet meme.
Sweep, 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 sweep.
Oh, the sweep remix. Sweep, 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 sweep.
I'm pretty sure I just made a lot of people cringe when I was singing it.
Anyways, continue, Daniel.
Yeah, while she was singing, I couldn't help but also notice the obvious little reference to Phantom of the Opera.
Mm-hmm.
And also, speaking of the Applejack smell, take a look at memes.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to show that to everybody in the stream.
Oh.
You want to show that to everybody in the stream?
Only if I want to look.
I mean, come on.
That's
That works.
okay. It's okay. I wasn't planning on sleeping tonight, anyways.
You have been warned.
Beware of the big white idiot smile.
Yeah, but could someone post the link to it, because I can't have anything else open right now. Otherwise,
I got it.
yeah, otherwise the connection would lag like crazy. Thank you, Daniel.
Leave it to Daniel to do it.
You got anything else on that, Daniel?
Well, I will say this: I was surprised to find out that On Blaze's voice actress was also the same person from the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend series. I haven't watched it, but I was actually surprised. Like, oh wow! And then the way I seen her talking, I'm like, wow! I think Pinkie Pie just been replaced.
Oh.
But yeah, the thing is that these new VAs that come, like these guest VAs, I don't know if they're secretly a fan of Pony, or they just come on board just to see if that something will like snag, you know.
Or in the case of John Delancey at first, like, oh yeah, there's another thing to add to my IMDb page.
Let's see, entry all the way to the bottom.
And speaking of Pinkie, I would actually like to see how On Blaze and Pinkie Pie would interact with each other.
Oh my god!
Oh, I would love
Dan-
that.
I was
And
watching the
Gabby as
episode.
well. Add Gabby into the mix as well.
I am not joking. I was watching the episode and I was thinking the same thing.
Like,
Pinkie and
picture
Autumn
Pinkie
Blaze,
and Gabby meeting Autumn Blaze.
because they have the same spirit of, you know, energetic. You know, they're
Or,
All three of them do.
or better yet, what about Cheese Sandwich, Pinkie Pie, and Autumn Blaze?
Well, then we would be calling Cheese Sandwich a waifu stealer. I mean, am I wrong there?
Anyways, you got anything else to add, Daniel?
Nope.
Alright, who do you pass it off to?
Eeny, meeny, miny, Miss Kanata.
Really? Wow.
oh,
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
you got put in your place there, Sonata.
Anyways, my positive for this episode is the Kieran's designs. In my opinion, the Kieran designs are amazing. they really pop out a lot more than any of the other species in this series, in my opinion. It feels like, and I can't exactly put my finger on it, because with the Kieran's designs, like they do a lot of the elements that the ponies do. You know, it's like, okay, different colors, different size manes and everything, different shapes and sizes of the Kieran and everything. But in my opinion, they just pop out a lot more. Like when the 9 Kieran just lifted up Fluttershy and Applejack and everything. They really stood out in that scene when you see all 9 of them, and they just popped out, in my opinion.
Not only that, what really interested me about that, there was a Kieran that looked like the exact same size as Celestia.
Yeah, that was the leader, right?
Yeah, it's the leader of the
Mm-hmm.
tribe, so to speak.
I will say this. I mean, this isn't a negative or anything, but I kind of wish we kind of got to see baby Kierans.
Oh my gosh, that'd be adorable.
That'd be adorable too.
Yeah, I mean, we got it could happen in season 9 and everything, and I really hope that happens, because I just love how the Kieran's designs is, in my opinion.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You want to see a baby Kieran?
I'm just gonna die of Adorabeatus, like, right now from that mental image, okay?
I think all of us are.
Okay, wait. You said you wanted to see baby Kieran?
Yeah.
Okay, get me on Blaze and give us 9 months.
Oh jeez. Oh wow.
Really?
Wow.
And on that note, I'm gonna go pass it up to Dream Sage.
Oh, alright. Positive, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's so hard to just pick one, and I'm sure the rest of you are going, that's so hard to just pick one. But, overall, love the Kieran as a race. Fantastic way to introduce this new species into the world. But I really like the actual lesson of the episode, too. Now, I grew up around people with Asperger's syndrome, some people who had, like, severe autism. And, me, myself, I had to learn pretty early on how to control myself, how to control my behavior, because they couldn't. And so I really like this episode as a lesson to younger kids, like, you know what? You're gonna feel mad. You're gonna feel upset sometimes, but you know what? It's a natural part, and you actually can control it if you decide to. And I see that as a really good lesson. I like that lesson for kids, even for adults who let their anger go way too far and start acting like children in their grown age. But just overall, that lesson, I think, was the biggest positive, because it did have a fantastic lesson in the story. Sometimes we get some really messed up lessons that don't quite make a lot of sense or teach some wrong ways of handling every situation, but that less makes sense.
I have a question. Would you say that this is kind of like All Balled Up, but done right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Whoa, what just happened to the stream?
Yeah, my connection got derped.
I didn't do it. I swear, I didn't do it. Oh, hi, Mark.
I don't know why it keeps doing that, but anyways. You finished with your positive dream?
Yeah, who else hasn't gone yet?
Let's see. It's Crimson, myself, or David.
Okay, David.
David?
Yeah.
Alright.
Ooh, where to begin? First, let me say props to the cast and the crew again for doing an excellent episode on this new creature mythology, whatever you want to call these Kirins. I guess they're part of the creature feature. I mean, we're talking about these creatures, these Kirins, and I think, like I said, I'm expanding on the idea of the design. I mean, when I look at the character, I think about they probably took the ideal of a lion, maybe, because when I look at the manes of these Kirins, looking at them, I'm thinking I couldn't help but notice that they must have thought, what would a lion mange look like on a pony? And if we change the horn, make these different type horns, give them these scales, like it works. The design works on so many levels. I mean, did you guys see that while you were watching the episode?
Yes, I did. I also had the same thought as you did.
Yeah. Because going through this episode again, I caught on to that, and I was thinking, they must have looked at different pictures and put them together like they do with most characters. They just take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you got a brand new design. And it was pretty amazing because you don't get that freedom of, it's like making a new recipe, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a pinch of this, a dash of that, and bada boom, you're on to the races. I thought that was pretty positive for the episode, how these Kirins look, So, yeah, that's pretty much my positive.
Quick cameo, okay.
What was that?
Well then.
Okay, we got a cameo.
I was the one that did that.
Did he not see what the room was called when he got in?
The what was called?
The room, like, it means like the voice call is labeled Bloody Maniacs Discussed. Did he not notice that we were a part of that when he came in?
Oh, you said room. Okay, I thought you said something else.
No, he knew. He specifically did that for a flyby cameo.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's not the first.
I think Rooney just pulled the
He pulled a Daniel.
Daniel on us, yeah.
You taught us too well for this, brother.
Anyways, let's getting back to what I was saying. Yeah, that's pretty much my positive for the episode. Just the overall designs of these new characters, Autumn Blaze, and all the rest of the Kirins. So yeah. So Floofy 1, you're up next.
All right. Okay, my turn. All right. I'm actually gonna expand on a positive that was already said, and oddly enough, it's actually not on the Kirin. I mean, that is one of my positives. I love the Kirin, but that's not my main positive for the episode, and why I really love the episode as much as I do. Because the main reason why I really love the episode, and this is my biggest positive, is the message. That was what really got me hooked onto this, because I know we kind of dealt with a lesson like this before in All Balled Up, but here there's actually a bit of a different spin on it. In All Balled Up, it was more the lines of don't keep your emotions all balled up for so long, because the longer you keep holding your emotions, the more painful it'll be when you let it out. In this case, though, it's showcasing how anger is a natural emotion. It's not a bad thing, it's more of a neutral thing. The only thing that can make it bad is how you use it. And I think that lesson is beautifully displayed in this episode, and it's definitely one of the best balls that the show had to offer. That was the moment that turned this episode from just great to borderline amazing. I mean, I know everyone keeps to talk about the Kieran all day, us included, but I think the main reason why I enjoy it is because of the message and how it's presented. It's presented so well that it kind of makes all balled up completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And if you guys know how I felt about that episode, I felt extremely grateful.
I'm like the only one that actually enjoys All Bottled Up for personal reasons.
That's fair. But, anyways, I stated my positive already. So, I think Crimson's the only one left.
You know what, Crimson?
What really caught my interest about the Kieran is basically another part of them that Twilight described about it, the Neeriks. It's like they got their name backwards when you look at it that way.
Yeah, get it, Kieran, Neerik.
And what's really interesting is that we got to see one Kieran, aka Autumn Blaze, control it. And it was kind of simple because they don't just do it for pure rage. It seems like it can be controlled really well and perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It was simple and clean as the way that you making me feel.
I think too that ties in with the overall message of the episode.
It does.
Did anybody get the reference I just made, though?
Yes.
I didn't.
That's pretty
You've never
obvious.
played Kingdom Hearts, have you?
Oh, I mean, I was thinking Kingdom Hearts when you said simple and clean, but I didn't know if that is what you were referring to. I thought you might have been referring to something else beyond Kingdom Hearts. Because when I heard you sing, I wasn't thinking Kingdom Hearts, even though I heard simple and clean. I thought you was going to be referring to something else that I never even heard of.
And this wasn't even its final form.
Gosh darn it.
I think that's all I have to for that one. That's what really piqued my interest about that, the Neeriks side of the Kieran.
Well,
I really hope we get more information and detail on how that's possible and how it works.
one can only hope.
Yeah.
One can only hope.
As
Anyways,
long as you don't lose the way.
Imagine if there's like a permanent Neerik. Like that would be like a good villain-like character if someone there was like a permanent Neerik. Someone who was just completely consumed by anger and hate.
So basically, what would happen if Cranky Doodle became Kieran?
Wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be?
Wow.
I can't say somebody, but if any pony in their show became a permanent Neerik or Kieran, wouldn't that be like thinking of the whole Nightmare Moon look to the show? Like when someone gets angry, they turn into an evil version of themselves. Nightmare Moon or a Neerik, you know.
But what if they were born? But what if they were born that? But what if they were born that way, though?
That'd probably be something to look at, yeah.
If Celestia was angry all the time and she was a Kieran, she would turn to Daybreaker.
Essentially.
Indeed.
he's not wrong.
And I know this is not what we're talking about, but Daybreaker is still badass.
Totally agree.
Nightmare Moon's better.
Oh, here we go.
Anyways, negatives. Let's see. For what I think of the negatives, I kind of wish AJ would have a sense to just stop and listen for once instead of just jump to conclusions afterwards.
Yeah. Maybe go on. I don't want to spoil your moment. Go on.
I was gonna say, Applejack, will you please listen to me?
I'm kind of glad that Fluttershy actually did that.
Yeah, I loved it when Fluttershy was a sort of like that.
That caught me.
Wait,
I know Fluttershy has become a lot more aggressive and a lot more sassy, but that still caught me completely off guard.
Sassy Shy is best Fluttershy.
But I'm not sassy. I'm Fluttershy.
English, motherfucker, can you speak it?
I'm so sorry. I totally messed that up. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
That was like my little bloopers.
Go on, next time we have a new audition for you.
Really?
Sorry.
Sorry, 3 times in a row. Jeez. All I was trying to say is the only freak out with Fluttershy that comes close to that so far was the there's no way we can get in the zone because the zone sounds like a horrible place.
Yeah, trust me, the auto zone is a horrible
We're
place.
going to lose and let everybody down, and we don't want to play anymore.
Angela Libman must have just had a ball with that.
Yeah, she probably did.
Go on, Crimson. Then
Yeah.
Hold up.
Okay.
Okay, so since Crimson is on break at the moment, I will finish. I will say what I was going to say. Yeah, to me, in my opinion, it felt like Applejack she felt a little too stubborn in this episode just to make the plot work, in my opinion.
Wait, Applejack stubborn? No.
No. Well, in my opinion, she felt a little too stubborn. It's like they cranked up her stubbornness a little too high just to make the episode work. At least in my opinion.
I think
So
that,
they basically
I think that was
turned
the
her into
ideal.
an Earth Pony version of Rainbow Dash.
I think that was the general ideal on why they did that with Applejack, is so that they could stretch out the episode so it could be resolved at the end.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I get why they did that, and it's not like it's not something bad that's gonna like take away points out of the episode for a lot of people. It's just something that I have noticed while I was watching the episode.
Yeah, I think
It's
they
not
do that with
really out of character for Applejack, though.
What's not out of character? I'm just saying they cranked up a flaw in her a little too high.
I think that's the true thing too, is that they do that with the other characters too, depending on the episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Applejack was thinking, though, after the episode?
What?
That she wouldn't eat apple pie
Getting a
again.
bottle. I'm sorry.
What was that?
I was saying, I think Applejack was probably thinking, I wonder if I put some of this into a bottle and give it to the Flim Flam brothers, it'll make them quiet.
That's a bit devious. Yeah.
Yes.
Starlight would be proud. After she drank
Anyway.
her coffee.
Anyways, I'm passing it on to
We're going reverse order, if you remember.
reverse order.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so
I'm next.
all right, over to you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I know some of you might find this hard to believe, but I actually do have a negative here. Now, in a grand scheme of things, this is relatively minor, as it didn't ruin my enjoyment for the episode as a whole. But it kind of prevented this episode from being my favorite of the season. And, okay. It's the argument scene towards the end of the second act. And the problems, actually, I have 2 problems with that. First problem is, am I the only one that found that Fluttershy's main argument didn't make any like of sense? Like, alright, Fluttershy, honey, sweetie, darling, let me ask you a question. If that is the main solution to the problem at Who, Fluttershy, then why? That's essentially bringing it back to the way they are currently. So, if that's the case, then why the heck would the map summon the both of you on this mission in the first place? I kind of felt that Fluttershy was kind of underutilized in that situation. And one more thing, that argument scene felt a little too convenient. It felt too, how do I put this? Like, it felt like it was forced. It felt forced. It felt like it was there just to drive the plot. I mean,
I thought sense the disturbance in the Force.
I just think the whole argument scene did not need to be there, and again, and another reason is that it keeps on reminding me of what made Season 8 so frustrating for me. I am sick of seeing these longtime friends keep on arguing with each other throughout the season. Am I the only one that's really getting sick of that?
Well,
Okay,
to be
You're not
fair,
the only one.
to be fair, friends argue all the time with each other.
I think
it's
if
something
we
that
didn't
friends
have
do.
that, I think then if we didn't have that arguing throughout the seasons, I mean, yeah, okay, they can tone it down a bit, but I think it's needed for people that that need to see it, so they can sense their awareness that these characters have flaws, and not everything is going to be flowers and rainbows all the time, because that would be a boring formula. Like all happy and always like hugging and saying, "Hey, like we have no problems. We're friends." Oh, I'm sorry. That would get pretty old.
I am aware. I'm aware of that. Don't get me wrong. I am aware that even longtime friends do get in some arguments from time to time.
But it doesn't break the friendship of when an argument happens.
Yeah, I know that. I realize that, and that's not really my main problem though. The problem I have was that it was slightly overdone. Especially if there are a lot of times such as non-compete clause or end in friend, it really took it to such extremes that for longtime friends it did not seem very believable to me.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
I get it. Yeah.
Then you said a few minutes ago that you thought that the whole argument between Applejack and Fluttershy was pointless.
I didn't say it was pointless.
What?
It just felt forced.
Well, I think you said. I thought I heard you say something along those lines.
No, I mean, I don't think it's completely pointless because I understand why it's there, but the presentation of it felt lacking.
Okay, gotcha.
And I just thought the presentation was lacking. I was not invested in that scene. In fact, that was the only time in the episode I was not invested at all. But like I said, it didn't. Like I said though, it didn't ruin my enjoyment for the episode as a whole. So in hindsight, this is kind of minor.
That, and it's basically pretty normal because arguments like that do happen, and to be honest, it's kind of rare to see Fluttershy arguing with Applejack for once because she's usually silent, timid.
Yeah, I think too is the idea that Fluttershy. The reason they did that with Fluttershy is to not break her character, but just to show a new side of her.
And I get.
Even though it was like an argument type.
I get that. I mean, just to me anyway, it just felt a little too. Another thing is that I felt that the argument felt a little too one-sided. Like I wouldn't mind it so much if both sides put up a lot of good points, but the way the argument seems presented, it just felt too one-sided.
I can see where you're coming from, Vin, and I actually agree with you on that.
I think too. I don't want to drag this on too long, but I think too is that the second time they argued, they had to argue at the point of that so they can push the ideal of them going into the stream of silence and for Autumn Blaze to make an appearance again. I don't know. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I get why it's there. I just think it could have been presented better. But that's just me. Let's see. Who was before me? I believe it was David, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me.
Alright, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. My negative is kind of just a little bit of a nitpick. Like I said, to expand what Ben, overall this episode was fantastic. I enjoyed it, and the only thing I didn't really like is that the ending when the rest of the Kieran village got their voices back. I wish we could have seen more of interactions with the other Kirans. Like, sure, they got their voices back when they drink the magical water or whatever they would call it, the cure, the magical water. But I wish we could see a little bit more interaction with Applejack and the other Kirans to see what we missed. Because we didn't get to hear them talk at all through that montage when the song montage.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And
and I would have loved to see just a little bit more interaction at the end with the other Kirans, like hear more of the leader. Does anybody know the character's name of the leader, Kieran? I forget her name. It was mentioned.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I just can't think of it off the top of my
I
head.
forgot.
Now. But yeah, just a little bit more interaction at the end of what we could have known from the others. Like, sure, Autumn Blaze was the main focus, and Fluttershy and Applejack were the main characters to do this map mission.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just something that I just wanted to have more of.
Yeah, and okay, not to be too grammatically correct here, but I believe that Kieran is both singular and plural.
The leader of the Kieran is named Rainshine.
Rainshine.
Oh, I was just trying to say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rainshine. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes you gotta let it rain.
Yeah.
And sorry, one more thing. When the song montage was going on, when we saw that rainbow, did anybody think about the 80s My Little Pony? Like the 80s logo?
Not me. I mean, I'll probably think about it more now that you mentioned it, but
because when I saw that rainbow, I was thinking that's how they did the logo in the 80s.
I didn't think of it, but now that you brought that up, I can see what you mean by that.
Yeah, because the lettering My Little Pony went over the rainbow like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, I just caught on to that.
And I'm kind of catching on to that now that you mentioned it.
You're welcome. Anyways, yeah, that's it for me. So.
All right. Oh yeah, there's something else I was gonna say. Like, when you said something about the magical water.
Yeah.
I will point out that this episode actually did a good use of a Chekhov's gun with the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that since we have a Trekkie in the chat. Hello, Dirk.
Hi, Doug.
Dirk, do we need to beam you up?
Facebook, Admiral.
But yeah, I mean, we all saw the flowers towards the beginning of the episode when the ones that the squirrels were gathering towards that tree. And I'm pretty sure all of us here thought that it was going to be a total red herring. But no, it turned out to be the solution to save the day.
Yeah, so bravo to the flowers.
I knew the monster was red herring.
But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Alright.
So, I think Dream was next.
Dream's the next one, yeah.
it's really hard to say anything different than what's already been said, because really there was a lot of really good in this episode, but you have to admit that there is a lot of plot holes in order to even make the story work. Like, we didn't get Fluttershy in character a lot. I mean, I know we had her scream, which for us, we were like, oh my god, Fluttershy did that. But then Fluttershy was continually argumentative, and that's not her. The other thing was, the way that, Autumn Blaze got frustrated at the Kieran trying to tell her that they wanted the cure now. Like, you would think, if they're not shaking their heads and saying no, obviously they're going, okay, I want to try it. Mm-hmm. I felt like that moment also took too long, so it's just really, and it really encompasses a lot of all of the points that you guys have made, just all of these little plot points, all these little, inconsistencies that don't make sense in order to make the story work. They've done that with episodes before, and even though it had a good premise, I really think if they took the time, they could have found other ways around it and still made the episode work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say the Fluttershy's character in this episode is pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It kept going in and out and back and forth.
We love Sassy Shy. This was not Sassy Shy. This was freaking Iron Will Fluttershy, and that episode was already how freaking messed up it was for her character.
I mean,
and it also messed up Angel's character too. Everybody hates that little rabbit, but he's not that bad. I mean, he's still a little freaking punk, but he's never hit Fluttershy before. That was the only happened, and that was the most disturbing part of it. So this was very much like that Fluttershy to me, and that's not a.
No, just think about this. I mean, I know this is out there, but what if Fluttershy didn't go to that motivation speech with Iron Will? Would she still have been just Fluttershy, not Flutterbold, like they call her? What if she didn't even go to that motivational Iron Will?
I honestly hate to imagine that.
Yeah.
Even if it was supposed to help her character growth, how many times did she revert, right after that episode, so that wasn't the one that helped change anything? I'm not saying that maybe overall it didn't help, but, it was pretty far back in the season. We didn't see a lot of change right after that at all.
Well, to be fair, it's for some people it takes a lot of time for change. It takes sometimes it takes a person a while for the lesson to finally kick in, or it takes lots of mistakes, lots of making the same mistakes for someone to learn. Fluttershy even addressed that in that Fame and Misfortune episode.
No, I understand that. That was not the point, what I said at all. My point was that it came after several other instances and was so far back that we didn't really see it do a lot of the effect as we saw with the other episodes that came afterwards that actually showed good tidbits of character growth until she was reverted again.
Gotcha.
All of them, it was the weakest one, and it didn't seem like it did anything really in the long. Unlike some of the other ones that we got, or expanding on our confidence and stuff.
Gotcha. So yeah, Dream. If you once you're done here, do you want to move on to the next person?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think Kanata's up next.
Okay, my negative for this one is in my opinion, they did not put enough creativity with the Kira's designs. How do I say this? They did not put enough creativity with the Newick's design. Now, that's not to say I don't like the design. I love the design of how the Newicks look. The problem is that all the Kiwins all look the same with the Newicks. Considering how every single Kiwin all look different and everything, considering how this show is with putting, so much detail into a lot of things with characters and stories and episodes and messages and songs and whatnot, you would think that they would put in a little bit more effort into making each of the Newicks for each of the Kiwins a little bit more different. Like just have different colors for the frames. Have some of the frames in their heads be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Same with the tail and everything. I mean, be more creative. If you're willing to go that far with the Kiwin and everything, I wish that they would have done that with the Newick instead of just using one design throughout every single one of the different Kiwicks. To me, it's just weird how everybody, or how a lot of the Kiwicks all look different, but when they turn into a Newick, they all look the same. I would have liked it if they would have just put in a little bit more creativity and time into making a lot of them different in some way, whether if it's color, whether if it's size, whether if it's anything, just put in just a little bit more effort to make some of them a little bit more different instead of just using one design as it is. And that's my negative.
So what you're saying is they're kind of like the Namekians from Dragon Ball Z? Well, I mean, if you think about it, the Namekians are kind of the same way in terms of, like, how there's not much difference between most of them.
Yeah.
The only one that's kind of different is Piccolo and Dende.
Yeah.
They got more development.
Yeah.
So, and now that you said how much the show puts attention to detail in some of the character designs? Well, that's more for nowadays. I mean, back in like seasons 1 and 2, there were a lot of background ponies that are just palette swamps of another. I mean, heck, Lemon Hearts and Twinkle Shine. Those two are literally the different colors of the same design.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, what nowadays, considering how far we are with the series and what we see, what we know, what the writers and the artists and the designers can do, it's like, I would have loved to see more creativity with, go have fun with the newest design, with making different designs, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I got.
It's a small nitpick. It's not a big deal breaker. It's just something I would have loved to see personally.
I got what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I think I do too. I think what you're trying to say, Kanata, is that you wanted to see the Kirins look like, let's say, have different horn sizes, have different.
Well, that's already done with the Kirin. I'm talking about the Newicks. When they turn angry and everything, it's all just the same design.
Oh, you mean like? Okay, yeah, I see what you're getting at. I mean.
Yeah, the angered forms.
The angered forms. Okay, yeah. I mean, when it comes to color schemes, I guess that's where it comes down to, is that how many color schemes can you use in one shot?
I don't know. It's like we've seen a lot of amazing things in designs of what they can do. It's like, in my opinion, it's like you're willing to go this far with ponies. You're willing to go this far with the Kirins and how you can make a lot of them unique with their designs. You can do, in my opinion, I think you can do that with the Newick if they wanted to. And it's not a big deal or anything. I just would have liked to see them go the extra effort with the Newick designs, instead of just using one style for every single one.
Here's the caveat to that. Now, I agree. That would be really cool to see the Newick all have their own, like, unique variation, like an opposite color to what their regular color was. But you gotta actually stop and think. Yes, they do a bunch of different ponies with different color schemes all the time. But usually they're ponies that already have a vector set, and then they're not gonna change color at all. So what you're expecting them to do is take each single Nirik that they made to fill this village and then do a second of that exact same one in different colors, all for the one episode. And you're doing that for like a good like 8 or 9 Kieran that they have in any one shot, showing the entire village. That's a lot of coloring. That's a lot of additional animation. So I can see how it would be interesting and it would be unique and you know, a really cool aspect. But from an animator's perspective, like, Lord have mercy, that would take so much time for one episode to do so much different color on all these different background characters. I think that would be a little tedious for them as an animator group, you know, kind of stepping outside of the story into the actual people creating the show. I think that would just be a little too much to ask of them.
I mean, and I can see where you're coming from, Dream Sage, but at the same time, we've seen, I don't know, it feels like we've seen moments in bits and pieces where animators go all in. You know, it's like they go in, they put in a lot of time, a lot of efforts into animation, into making one particular scene or one particular moment epic. You know, I just feel like they can do it if they wanted to. I mean, like I said, what we got isn't bad. I love the Nirik's design that we have. I love it. I just would have liked to see more variety into it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Dream, I've been thinking about what you've been stating, and I'm just trying to picture, like, working as a Disney animator back in the 60s, like, drawing all of those Dalmatians in one shot. Each one has...
I know, right?
Yeah, that is a good example.
Each one, no spot pattern is exactly the same.
And I think back when they did the 101 Dalmatians, they were also using the panning glass on glass technique that they did with Bambi initially for some of the opening shots of London. I think they did that, and then the rest they did kind of regular paper animation.
Yeah, the multiplayer camera.
Where they had each scene was painted on a layer of glass, and then they moved past it. Like some of the early starting London shots they have sweeping of the original 101 Dalmatians has that kind of effect with the background and foreground, and then I think they just went to paper animation after that.
That's true. But
yeah, they used to do even more. Like, can you imagine painting on glass and then trying to line it up correctly and not smudge any of the paint off? And then have to do a whole nother scene that still fit with that first one you did?
Yeah, something that we all take for granted these days.
Yeah, we don't look at the behind the scenes on how they make these animated TV shows and full-length movies.
I do.
I am an avid behind the scenes person. I like to go back and say, how did they do this shot? How did they do the sequence? Or it's been always me. I always have to go beyond of what I see, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to come across as someone who's not appreciative of what the animators from MLP do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't mean to come across as that. I mean, I have a lot of respect for all of the animators who has worked on the show throughout the last 8 seasons.
Don't worry, we got what you were saying. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I always give out my shout-outs to them, you know? Everyone behind the scenes of My Little Pony. And I mean everyone. I mean, I'm the directors, the producers, the VAs, the artists, nothing short of phenomenal.
Anyways, I think it's your turn, Daniel. You're the last one to go.
And I'm actually surprised nobody talked about this one yet. Well, my negative is actually I guess you'd call it a bit of a nitpick, but I mean, what was the point of the old man pony that we saw all Fluttershy and Applejack meet when they first arrived?
Oh gosh,
It was for humor. For the
what
lulz.
was the
That's
point
why.
of him?
It was for the lulz. Plain and simple. For the lulz.
Well, I mean, like, he didn't really contribute much, really. Like, he was a bit funny, but also it's like, okay. There wasn't really much point to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't really know why he was there. I mean, he had that little group.
I guess in a way you could say, hey, he was there to try to, like scare Fluttershy and Applejack and everything, because Fluttershy was already scared, going into doing this. I'm guessing, hey, like that old guy doing what he did is trying to make it seem like, trying to scare Applejack and Fluttershy more. You could say that.
so was he basically just trying to keep everybody away from Kieran's? Is he like a racist pony?
No, I'm just saying he was. No, he was just trying to put more fright into Fluttershy and Applejack. It failed. I think it failed. I think he failed in that, but I think that was like his purpose for the lulz, and you, in a way, try to put in more fright into what we are about to see.
Essentially, he was trying to give them a warning about whatever upcoming danger might lie ahead. It's more or less taking advantage of the fear of the unknown.
Think of it this way. Do you remember in that season premiere when the main sets all went to that town and everything?
Starlight Village?
Yes. And they were kind of like building up to see, before Starlight came out and everything on who is behind that door. It could be anybody. Who are we about to see? What's he gonna look like? What's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Only for Starlight to come out and everything. I think that is what its purpose was. To kind of like build the suspense for what we are about to see as the episode goes on.
Yeah, but the thing is, Starlight was like, I mean, focus of that. This pony, this elder pony, like, he only was just like a one shot and that was it. Like, there was, like, he never came back in the rest of the episode. He was just there.
Like, I can understand.
He didn't really contribute much to the plot of the story.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I understood what he was there for in a way, because he was a ticket pony, because he had a conductor hat and he had that ticket booth. So I think he sold tickets, but for this particular episode, I guess he was just like trying to freak out Applejack and Fluttershy.
Because once again, when the episode starts and once Fluttershy saw, hey, where they're gonna go, Fluttershy got scared.
Mm-hmm. Like I said,
I'm going.
Like I said, it was more or less the fear of the unknown taking effect.
Yeah.
But you know who the old man pony kind of reminded me of, though? Like when I saw him?
Who?
Like his, like, I don't know why his design made me think of, like, Pirate Applejack almost, just because he looked like he would fit in for, like, more of like a captain of a ship in My Little Pony rather than like what we saw.
Yeah, you put him basically in pirate clothes and you got like a pirate pony. What's that character called? The old one, the old cartoon character, the one with the who eats spinach. What's his name?
Popeye.
Thank you, Popeye. I got Popeye vibes from him too.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, anything else there, Daniel? Before we move on?
On Blaze's best Kieran and Starlight's best pony.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Something, yeah.
Alright, I think it's now time to move on to our ratings. So, anyway, Daniel, since this episode was up of your request, why don't you start us off?
5 out of 5.
What? 5 out of 5, I'm not surprised. Alright, Kanata?
Oh, give me a moment.
Alright.
2,000 years later.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna give this episode a 5 out of 5. It had the best song in season 8, in my opinion. It has one of the most personal and best messages of the 8 seasons of MLP I have ever seen. The Kirins and the Newick's designs were amazing, and the character Autumn Blaze was also amazing as well. The only small nitpicks I had is what I brought up, and Applejack's stubbornness was a little too high. Although we've seen those kind of like those character traits bump up a little. We see character flaws get bumped up a little higher than normal to make an episode work. So that's not a big deal. And for me, the humor was a bit hit and miss. Like Applejack's attempts to get the Kirins to talk and everything, I didn't find it that funny. I don't know about any of you.
Yeah, I didn't.
I thought Autumn Blaze messing with Applejack was pretty funny.
What?
Oh yeah.
Autumn Blaze when she was messing with Applejack, making her.
Oh yeah. Talk. Yeah, but say when Applejack tried to do that knock joke.
Yeah, that one felt a bit forced.
Okay, that was kind of corny.
Yeah. Other examples of the humor being hit and miss was what Daniel brought up, the guy at the train station trying to scare Applejack and Fluttershy. Some people may have found it funny. I necessarily didn't. And I don't know if anybody found this funny, but did anybody get a chuckle with Autumn Blaze seeing her items like having faces and smiley faces and eyes and everything? Did anybody laugh at that?
I think
I got Pinkie Pie flashbacks from the Party of One.
It's all about when they do those for this episode, like the soccer ball and the volleyball. I think it's all about referencing again.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I saw that scene, I was thinking of that Tom Hanks movie.
Oh yeah.
And my mind just shifted to that when I saw that. I'm thinking they just did a Castaway reference.
I didn't know that was supposed to be a reference. I thought that was like a attempt to be funny.
Well, it was an attempt to be funny, but I think it was also a reference for people that had to get that reference. But
I don't think that's as much a reference as like when you see it in, because we were talking in the pre-show about Madagascar.
Yeah.
Madagascar, that's a blatant reference because he goes, "Shut up, Spalding."
I mean,
all they're missing is Moto Moto.
That's a reference, but I think just the faces. I think that just kind of goes with like an isolationist thing nowadays. Like it's recognizable when you start like making inanimate objects replace people, because they make that kind of reference in all kinds of shows. But very rarely do they actually call one of the characters Spalding. When the character is called Spalding, you know that's a direct reference.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
The thing is, when I saw that, I was thinking of what in the Party of One episode with Pinkie Pie, how she was like talking to that rock and stuff and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the bag of flour and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of that Pinkie Pie a moment there, like, oh wow.
Yeah, she lost her marbles in that episode.
Indeed.
Anywho, Dream?
Huh?
You're
waiting?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You said like you were gonna ask me something other than that, and so I was confused. My rating, it's out of 5, right? I'm gonna go with a 2.5 on this one, just because, like I said, I love this song. Like sorry, not the song, but I love this episode. The song, especially, like I repeatedly play that on YouTube, and it was a good overall kind of message they were trying to teach kids. So yeah, 2.5, just because of all the plot inconveniences they had to do, but it was a great story in the end.
Interesting. But
And also, I think I've realized why Applejack wasn't singing with Autumn Blaze.
why?
Why?
Because they already learned when not to sing songs.
I get the joke. David?
Yeah, my rating for this is 5 out of 5. You know, it was really enjoyable episode. The lessons were good. We got to meet new characters, the Kirins, Autumn Blaze, like I said, the focus. The song, one of the best songs of My Little Pony episode. Just blew me out of the ballpark. I was just like, awesome vocals. Like this, Rachel Bloom, like she's amazing. Like I was just blown away by the song. It had comedic timing. It even had a little, like a mini story in it, just alone. Like you could have made an episode just of the song alone. But yeah, 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay. Crimson?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5, eh? Okay. Alright. Oops. Alright, so, as for me, you know what? The rating for the episode for me was actually more of a struggle for me than you may think. Because, okay, is this worthy of being a 5 out of 5, or, I mean, that argument seems still kind of bothers me, but, it all depends on that. Should I give it a 5 out of 5, or a 4.5 out of 5? I just don't know. But I ultimately gave in, and just gave it a 5 out of 5 anyways. I mean, it did have a great story, I really love how when the show explores other cultures besides the pony folk. I really love it when the show explores other cultures. It's always so fascinating to me.
They usually make for some of the best episodes.
Yeah, they sure do, and even give credit to the characters that are in the episode and made it all the better. Caught on a fire. But yeah, I love the exploration for the Kirin. The song was wonderful. It's probably the best song of the whole season. And yeah, Autumn Breeze is wonderful, and she is adorable. But what really sold it for me was the message. That alone is what made the episode for me. So yeah, that's that. Just give me a quick moment here. Just want to double check my math real quick.
Yeah, don't mess up the math.
Shut up.
Math, the enemy of all things good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that I had a math teacher in middle school who, whenever we had free time on like half days where he didn't want to really try to like test us on anything, he'd just have us go ahead and work on any homework we needed to catch up on, and he'd put on this one song every time, and the song is "Math Sucks."
Alright.
That teacher was the most badass math teacher I ever had.
Yeah. The overall group rating for this episode might actually surprise some of you.
4.5.
Darn it, you hit it right on the ballpark.
Hey!
Hey,
Yeah,
up to the phone.
yeah, it is a 4.5, and I think Dream's 2.5 might have a contributor to that.
Yeah.
Hashtag blame Dream.
Oh no, let's not do
kidding,
that.
I'm kidding.
How can you blame Dream if she's already in?
We love you, Dream.
Yes, we do.
Just like messing with you.
Anywho, that's about
That's
all.
alright. At least I'm still the best singer of everybody.
You were.
Now, before we end the podcast, what do you guys think if Autumn Blaze, Applejack, and Fluttershy did a reprise of the song but together? I think Fluttershy has a wonderful singing voice.
Oh,
That would be awesome to see. I would love to see that.
Applejack could turn into a country song.
Actually, both of Applejack and Fluttershy have good singing voices.
Yeah.
All the Maces have good singing voices.
Oh, yeah. If it was like a group thing, that would be awesome. Like singing that, the Kieran song.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Like Twilight Sparkle. Magic can move mountains. Okay, anyways.
Anyways, that'll be all for tonight's podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us. Next week is going to be something a little bit different, actually. If you guys recall, I put up a vote some earlier this week about which episode we'll be covering next. And here's the thing. The voting ended, and it was originally going to be the episode for tonight. But this episode was a birthday request for Daniel, so we did this one instead. But the episode we'll be covering next week is the episode that won the vote. And that episode is going to be a good one. Because the episode that won the poll is none other than a highly praised, highly remembered, Amending Fences.
Yay!
Oh my god.
Also, before we end the podcast, there is one question I would like to leave it off on.
And that is?
If Pinkie Pie was in the episode, and trying to get the... how do you think it would have gone if she was there with Applejack and Fluttershy?
I kind of felt like she wouldn't be needed. Honestly.
I mean, like, picture her trying to get the Kieran to talk and step Applejack.
I think she was just trying to Kieran's face.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Imagine how frustrated Pinkie Pie would get when she couldn't make him.
Because, yeah, the Kierans don't talk, right? So she'd be like, why aren't you talking to me?
Oh gosh, if that was the case, she would lose her mind.
Here's another thing. How quickly would the Kieran have took Pinkie Pie to the Sound of Silence stream?
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes, that would have actually made a lot more sense than the whole Applejack and Fluttershy argument.
I
I
cannot.
know, we would have been there, like, in the first 5 minutes of getting in the village.
I could just picture if they did try to put Pinkie Pie in there, Sketchy would probably be going, yes, do it, yes.
Oh my god, okay. I'm gonna let. I want to let Ben just wrap this up.
Anyway, that should be the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay awesome.
And may the floof be with you all.